Hello and good morning. Holly Shields here, live from 𝐊𝐴 studio in Sydney, and you're watching the Early Trades, a show where we share with you a glimpse of the Australian share market opening trade scene, along with the global and domestic drivers triggering the market momentum. In our first segment of the show today, we'll have a look at how the early morning trades panned out, taking cues from Wall Street action overnight. Then we'll look at the prominent newsmakers grabbing the headlines during the early trade hours, followed by the final segment discussing the movement seen in cryptocurrency, crude oil, gold and metal indices. The Australian share market opened in the red this morning, taking cues from a strong overnight closing on Wall Street, with strong commodity prices likely supporting miners and energy shares. Plus, global stocks surged as fears eased over China's Evergrande and US Federal Reserve's stimulus taper plans. The ASX 200 opened the day lower just 0.5 points today to 7,369.70 after rising 1% in the previous session. Among the shares paying dividends today are Blackmores, Iress, QBE, Insurance Group, Perpetual and Woodside Petroleum. The ASX listed stocks going ex-dividend today. First one is BSP Financial. Other stocks going ex-dividend in the rest of the month are BSP Financial, Eagers Automotive, Energy One, Meridian Energy, VIP Gloves, among others. The top gainers of the day on the ASX pack during the opening trades are Computershare, Woodside Petroleum, Incitec Pivot, Virgin Money UK and Whitehaven Coal. Whereas the bottom performing stocks include Centuria Industrial, REIT, Atlas Arteria, Silver Lake Resources, Regis Resources and Perseus Mining. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones jumped 1.5%, the S&P 500 rose 1.2%, and the Nasdaq stormed 1% higher. Meanwhile, shares of Evergrande climbed 18% ahead of the key debt payment deadline. Investors mulled implications from the Fed's decision to start reducing monthly bond purchases as soon as the month of November. Moving on now, let's have a look at the prominent ASX shares during the early trade hours. And the first company on our list today is Sigma Healthcare, who have appointed Vikesh Ramsamunda as their new Managing Director and Chief Executive, replacing Mark Hopper. Mr. Ramsamunda is currently the Group Chief Executive of a healthcare market leader, Clicks Group, and will join the company in February of 2022. The share price of Sigma Healthcare was trading 60 cents during its opening trade. And next up, Senex Energy has signed a gas sales agreement with 29 metals. Under the agreement, Senex will supply Capricorn Copper Mine with 2.5 petajoules of natural gas over a 3-year period. The commencement date for the gas supply is the 1st of January of next year. And this reflected the share price of Senex Energy, as it was trading $3.54 during the opening trades. Meanwhile, State Gas has successfully completed an $8 million placement at 32 cents a share. The offer received strong interest support, with support from a number of leading energy investors. CPS Capital and Morgan's Corporate acted as joint lead managers to the placement. The share price of State Gas was trading at 37 cents during the opening trades. And next up, Laphroaig Exploration, assay results have been received from 4 holes from a 9-hole RC drill program, evaluating the Burns copper and gold prospects. Appraisal of results from the earlier RC and diamond holes has now also been done. The mineralization is currently demonstrated over a 250-meter-long strike length that's open. And the share price of Laphroaig Exploration was trading at 42 cents during the opening trades. And next up, APN Industrial REIT successfully completed the capital raising. It raised $100 million via an institutional placement and another $144 million via an entitlement offer to institutional investors. New securities will be issued at a fixed price of $3 0.45 per security. With that said, let's move on to the final leg of our show, looking at the movement in crypto, bond yields, crude oil, gold, and metals indices. Well, first up, the US Treasury yields jumped following the Fed's stimulus taper statement on Wednesday. Benchmark US 10-year notes fell by 30 in price, pushing the yield to just over 1.4336%, its highest since early July. In the currency space, the dollar index fell 0.428% after hitting a one-month high as well. And the Aussie dollar, on the other hand, rose to 74.94 US cents. Moving on, crude oil prices rose amid a surging demand and a draw in US crude inventories, resulting in tight supplies. Brent crude settled at the highest level since 2018, with Brent valued at $77.25 US, up 1.4% on the day. WTI also ended up 1.5% at just over $73 US per barrel. Energy stocks like Woodside Petroleum were trading higher during the early trades, whereas Santos also edged higher during the early hours of today. Gold prices were under pressure amid concerns that the US Federal Reserve could hike interest rates sooner than expected, as spot gold fell 1.3%, while US gold futures settled 1.6% lower. ASX listed gold stocks like Northern Star Resources were seen in the red during the early trade hours, and Newcrest Mining was trading lower during the opening trades as well. Meanwhile, the most traded January coking coal on China's Dalian Commodity Exchange rose as much as 7.7%. In the crypto space now, and Bitcoin last traded 2.68% higher at just over $44,760 US. Well, with that said, that is a wrap for the early morning trades, but stay tuned to 𝐊𝐶 TV because we have many more shows lined up for you today. Holly Shields signing off.